The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland, which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, wild weather on the West Coast.
And more money for nursing at BCIT.
And this old house needs a new home. Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Pitargue.
And I'm Azzaya. Thanks for joining us.
Our reporters have been braving winter conditions to bring you a variety of weather stories.
We also have a story on how to help save the environment and some ideas about what you can do this weekend.
Metro Vancouver students had several challenges getting to school this week, from slippery highways to sluggish transit. Azzaya explains how it went for BCIT students.
Expect more of this as the snow continues to fall. BCIT students are looking for safe ways to get to campus on time and in one piece.
I guess I can walk, I could take the bus, I could get an Evo, but I don't know if I trust the tires. I'll have to look into that.
The bus came late and the train was slow and stuff.
I'm not really sure. There was 8 people in my class this morning, so that kind of sucks. There's usually 24.
With icy conditions on the road, students will have to find their way to school by any means necessary. We surveyed 30 students, and 60% of students say they relied only on transit, while the remainder relied on their car and the last-minute resort of walking.
Closing school is an incredibly difficult decision, and even closures for a day can have huge academic ramifications, including people not being able to graduate. One missed exam or a couple of missed hours for a Transport Canada class can lead to students not graduating.
With Old Man Winter making his presence felt here in the Lower Mainland, the only hope left for BCIT students is that transit operates well, the roads give in, and that BCIT can cut some slack for attendance.
I really encourage you to wear the right footwear, make sure your vehicle has the right tires, be prepared for your commute to take a little bit longer.
Yeah, even tomorrow, if it's the same road conditions, the same thing, I'm not going to school. It's just not worth risking car accident.
Though it's a challenge to make it on campus, those who did make it are making the best of a snowy day. I'm Azzaya in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine. Snow wasn't the only weather problem we faced this week. Powerful windstorms across southern Vancouver Island caused cancellations and power outages. Rebecca Lawrence has the story.
Winter weather conditions hit Victoria hard.
I was trying to get to 1 p.m. and then it was canceled, so now I'm on the 3.
BC Ferries was forced to cancel or delay multiple sailings over the weekend and into the week due to high winds. On Friday, all sailings to Victoria were canceled until 3 p.m. This tennis player was trying to get to the island early on Friday for a tournament in Oak Bay.
It sucks if I don't even play and then we're already out of the draw.
Some travelers waited longer than others.
Got here at 6:30 and it's 2:30 p.m. and it's been a while, a lot of waiting.
I went into work at 5 a.m. today so I could get the 1 ferry.
On Sunday, every sailing between Tsawwassen and Swartz Bay was canceled, and that's not all.
With the 3 consecutive storms that came through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we had a total of 163 sailing cancellations over the 3 days.
The high winds didn't just affect travelers.
The wind gust brought a huge tree down and broke 2 poles and brought down a bunch of wire.
According to BC Hydro, on Sunday alone, more than 3,000 customers lost power across Greater Victoria.
Here on the West Shore Parkway in Langford, residents finally have power after spending over 2.5 hours in the dark. BC Hydro says it can only work on one section at a time, and on top of that, each new site needs a new permit, which just prolongs the process.
To change 2 poles and all this, it's probably going to take about 8 hours.
Whether you're huddled up at home or headed out across the water, Environment Canada says to keep on the lookout for updates as more storms are forecast to hit Victoria right into the weekend. Rebecca Lawrence in Victoria for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up after the break, when will Styrofoam be banned in restaurants?
And a free house, just come and get it.
In a world destroyed by ice and snow, two pals battle the elements while making plans.
It looks like the snow took everybody out except for us.
I know, Maria. Monday should have been a snow day. What do you want to do next week?
What should we do? I don't know. There's ice skating at Vancouver Robson Square until February. It's open from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. Sundays through Thursdays, and it's open till 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. It's free, and you can also rent skates at the rink.
Or check out Coquitlam's Lights at Lafarge Lake. That's at the corner of Guildford Way and Pine Tree Way, right by Coquitlam Center Mall. The display runs until January 19th, so get in while you can.
And don't forget about Chinese New Year. That's on the night of January 24th, when you can welcome the Year of the Rat at Richmond's International Buddhist Temple. It's free with donation. Wait, hold up.
What?
Why are we making plans for after the snow apocalypse?
I don't know, dude. This is an episode of Community Calendar, all right? It's not an episode of Rick and Morty where everything weirdly works out in the end.
That was your community calendar for this week's show.
Be sure to tune in with us next week.
Good news for people interested in joining the nursing program at BCIT. The BC government is offering more money to provide more seats. My co-anchor, Ali Pitargue, explains why.
In a real delivery room, that sound is a sign of a healthy newborn. At BCIT, specialty nursing students use these robotic mannequins to simulate procedures like childbirth and pediatric care.
That's amazing.
BC Health Minister Adrian Dix came to BCIT to announce more support for the program.
I'm excited to announce we are providing funding that will more than double the number of seats in this important program here at BCIT. That should be. See how that happened?
BCIT's specialty nursing program started with 389 seats. The province is promising to fund 611 new seats, bringing the total to 1,000.
We know nurses are at the cornerstone of the BC healthcare system, and this investment really provides that hands-on training, that applied learning to more nurses with state-of-the-art equipment.
Dix says that nurses are desperately needed today and into the future.
Because if you can't provide care and supports and home support and community nursing and supports in community, then those communities are going to have a very difficult time sustaining themselves.
Nursing student Christina Dixon is working on a rural nursing certificate to help Indigenous communities.
Being of Indigenous heritage, I would be inspired to see more Indigenous representation and Indigenous perspective within the nursing field.
The funding announcement comes just after construction began on BCIT's new Health Sciences Center.
We're also looking forward to the new building, which will have 56 beds for simulation, which will allow our students a lot more opportunities to practice with the robots.
Initial funding was announced in 2018. This new announcement means that money for nursing seats will continue into the future. Ali Pitargue in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine. On January 1st, Vancouver banned the use of all styrofoam takeout containers. But as reporter Kaia Proctor found out, the switch to more sustainable options has been slower than you may think.
The Lotus Seed Vegan Restaurant specializes in delicious, homemade vegan food all wrapped up in sustainable packaging.
The way I run my business is based on morality, based on compassion, and based on health.
The Lotus Seed has been using sustainable packaging since it started.
Mostly paper, and also we have another product that we use is made of starch.
Vancouver's restaurant industry will soon be following suit, as Vancouver's plan to eliminate single-use plastics started January 1st with a ban on styrofoam packaging products. Restaurants Canada, however, says this change brings challenges for many restaurants.
We've seen an explosion of takeout, home meal replacement, the skip the dishes, door dashes, and as a result of that, there's even more of a demand for single-use items. So the challenge is coming up with single-use items that have a low environmental footprint, that are completely recyclable.
And some renewable products don't come cheap.
50 cents here, 50 cents there, and the end of the year, it's a lot.
Consumers have to pay a bit of a price for these new packaging items as well, but so far I think guests are willing to do that.
While Von Schelwitz says 90% of Restaurant Canada members are working to improve their environmental sustainability, some in Vancouver are still using styrofoam.
A diverse industry with all sorts of small mom and pop operations, and they may take a little longer to make sure that they comply.
Vancouver is taking an educational approach to businesses still using styrofoam for the next few months. Following these actions, those still violating the bylaw will be fined $500 per offense.
The other thing that we'd like to see is changes that are done universally, not one municipality cherry picking with another one, and then you've got a patchwork of all these conflicting municipal bylaws.
Federal laws on single-use plastics may be a while away yet, but New Win encourages other restaurant owners to make moves towards sustainability on their own volition.
It's one of the best things I ever done to myself, to even for my wife or even for the people working for me. We just having so much fun serving, and there's money, a little bit money to be made here. So please join me. Yeah.
And if Vancouver bylaw has anything to say about it, most restaurants will be joining him in the very near future. Kaia Proctor in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A heritage house in North Vancouver is up for grabs, but there's a catch. Our reporter Nicole Priebe explains how and why it's not as easy as it sounds.
A heritage house is one defined by its historical value and character. Many residents in the area are passionate about preserving them. This one in particular.
One of the last bastions of the age of beautiful buildings.
The 112-year-old Copper Cottage has a new owner who wants to demolish it in order to use the lot for a new duplex. A local realtor who specializes in heritage homes believes these structures have a special value.
I think that's a gorgeous old house, and I look at these things as kind of as living beings. I mean, they're not just old wood and plaster. There's so much more.
The land is valued at nearly $1.8 million, while the structure itself is assessed at $10,000. Demolishing the 1,800 square foot home would set the owner back $15,000, so offering the house up for free could be the best option.
I wouldn't mind taking it myself.
Back in 2015, a heritage home was transported from North Vancouver to Maple Ridge for the very same reason. The home sold for the price of $1, and the new owner foot the bill to move it and had a lot to put it on. Advocates for the protection of heritage homes hopes this is what will happen to the Copper Cottage.
This particular house, the small one, those are the ones that the most threatened. It'd be great if this one got preserved on the back of somebody else's lot. Owning a little bit of history in that community is a real sense of pride of ownership.
I'm Nicole Priebe in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
That's the show for this week's BCIT Magazine. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at BCIT Journalism.
And check us out on YouTube at BCIT News, and for updates and stories on the go, log on to bcitnews.com. Thanks for joining us.